Hello and welcome, family, to another episode of Wake Up Africa. My name is Dr. Mumbi. Saraki, how you doing? How's everything going? I really do pray that you are well, family, in all your ways, and that you're just moving into this new dispensation. The new earth is here. It's here, family. It's just waiting for us to put all the pieces and bits together to start putting our energy into creating our new world, our new opportunities, our new homes, etc. It's like overlaying this current reality, but those are definitely stories for other days. Special shout out, of course, to our Patreon family. Thank you so much for supporting us on that platform and enabling us to really stay focused on bringing the news to our people. Because, family, we've got to find a way to live and survive and pay our staff to produce this show. And so as long as that's available to us, we'll definitely continue producing the show. The minute that's not available to us, there are other avenues to make money, because that's just the way, the reality of the way the world has been designed. You have to find, you have to do your works. But those are stories for other days, as I've said. Family, this is so amazing what's happening in Kenya, and this is unprecedented, and it's really shifting the way multinational corporations do business, not only in Kenya, but in Africa, because they're going to have to be more cautious. You see, corruption reached its peak in the previous dispensation, and what we saw is a lot of these multinational corporations that were making trillions in profit overseas, their local subsidiaries, like where they were getting the raw materials from in Africa, there was a lot of exploitation. The staff were underpaid, etc., etc. But they were able to get away with it because they'd register that as a separate company. So they'd register that as a subsidiary. So they felt like the mother company couldn't be touched because all issues are to deal with there. So that's how a lot of them have avoided persecution for some of the terrible human rights abuses they're doing or committing on the African people. But get this, more than 1,000 Kenyan tea pickers who say that harsh and exploitative working conditions on a Scottish-run tea farm have caused them crippling health complaints, can now pursue their class action in an Edinburgh court. And what happened is that, there's lawyers who are acting on behalf of the tea pickers, and they had wanted to launch this case against the Scottish company, Finley, which is an Aberdeen registered multinational whose estates in Kericho, Kenya stretch across 10,000 hectares. That's 25,000 acres in one of the large, and they happen to be one of the largest suppliers of tea and coffee in the world, and includes high street outlets such as Tesco, Sainsbury, and Starbucks as their customers. So the company has defended its health and safety regulations, and the sickening thing is, they've described their Kenyan estate as a thriving community of thousands of employees and outgrowers and their families who live, work, and study there, and they make it sound like it's some kind of paradise on earth. But in previous testimony, workers claimed that oppressive working conditions caused them significant and permanent musculoskeletal damage. Some said it aged them, working there 5 years or whatever, caused them to accelerate. This thing is so crazy, I can't even speak. Caused accelerated aging for up to 20 years. Because when they're picking coffee, they're like this. Then you have to work for like 12 hours a day, and then you're turning and everything, and then you're carrying like 10, 20 kgs of the tea baskets on your back. And they have to work 6 days a week. Well, actually, they're saying, and they say, they said that they had to work up to 12 hours a day in a 6-day week schedule and carry up to 26 pounds of the tea leaf picking on their backs over rough slopes. In some cases, meet a weight target of 66 pounds of tea a day or not get paid. And it's very few who would be able to meet that. So literally, it's slave conditions, family. That's what this is. So, the Kenyan tea workers wanted to sue the company in Edinburgh, and the Scottish company created so much drama. They were saying that it's against, they're subverting the will of Kenya as a sovereign nation, and if Kenya was a sovereign nation, this should not happen. Blah blah blah. They did everything literally. And of course, they want the case to be held in the Kenyan courts because there'll be less damages. It won't set a precedent in their own home courts. But there's also a lot of corruption. Let's not lie, in our courts. So they know that they could easily get that thing swept under the rug. But this is amazing because lawyers acting for the tea pickers have won an order for the Court of Session, Scotland's highest civil court, telling James Finlay Kenya Limited, which is known as JFK, to abandon attempts to block the suit through the Kenyan court. So they were trying to block the court using the Kenyan courts to block the case being heard in Scotland by trying to tell the Kenyan courts, oh, this should be heard in your territory and you're giving up your territory, blah, 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 to have it heard there. Of course, all this blah, blah, drama. So they said, as I said, they tried to block the suit from going ahead in Scotland and more recently pursued blocking action in Kenya, arguing that the Scottish claim was an assault on Kenyan sovereignty. But the workers' lawyers argued that JFK had engaged in a deliberate campaign to defeat the ends of justice and cause distress. So the lawyers of the Pickers, which is a Mzungu firm, Patrick Maguire of Thompson's, said the claim was based around a combination of oppressive working conditions and a pay model often based around impossible picking targets. Underlining the importance of pursuing the case in Scotland, he added, these workers will have no ability to seek justice or pursue compensation in Kenyan courts. There are no group proceedings or legal aid there, and lawyers are unable to offer no-win, no-fee arrangements. He said he hoped the landmark proceedings would have an impact on the industry more broadly, and this is about shining a light on what happens on these farms. Every company that operates in this area needs to have a long, hard look on its processes. And the great thing is, regardless of where the court case goes, this is a massive precedent. And Kenya has kind of been leading the way with this because, I think we've sued BAT, British American Tobacco, in the British government, and there's been a few other cases. So this is absolutely huge. We also did see Nigeria. I think Nigeria sued Shell. In that, I'm not sure. I'll have to confirm. If they did, you'll see it here. But family, this sets a precedent because a lot of these companies, they have these massive profit margins because they're oppressing our people and they're doing the shitty labor here. Excuse my French. And so this is going to set a huge precedent because they'll have to relook. If they win this case, a lot of these organizations are going to have to relook how they treat our people, what they do for our people, because you see, a lot of them also get like tax exemptions and all these leeways from governments because they happen to be multinational corporations and they do bring a lot of money to the country, but then they pay our people poorly, they don't pay taxes and all these things. So it's a win-lose. We're the ones losing on every front. Our workers are losing, our government is losing, we as a people are losing. But this is the way that we're going to change the way companies do business in Africa. And of course, this Thompson Maguire company, it's a, no win, no fee kind of situation. They know they're going to get millions from compensation. And of course, they do take a huge chunk, 30-40% for their efforts, which of course reduces what our people get. But already they're bringing into the limelight the struggles of our people, the exploitation of our people into that global narrative. So people is shining a spotlight so people can know the real exploitative nature of these multinational corporations who are the new global government and who are trying to form the new world order. But those are stories for other days. Let me know what you think in the comments below. Unprecedented. And family, we're going to see this happening more and more across Africa. Whereas if a corporation, if the local people cannot get the corporation in their own country, they'll go to their doorstep. And that's why they try and do by any means necessary. These multinational corporations try by any means necessary to cancel such cases, to terrorize those who are bringing such cases to the courts, because it sets a precedent for other nations and other disgruntled people to also come to the forefront. And this is how these corporates are going to go down. Because it's going to be too expensive to do business the way they're doing it, and they don't know how to do it humanely. Tuko pamoja. Looking for a conscious community, or for people, who are on their awakening journey, on their transition to an off-grid living in your country, well, we have the solution, family. We're calling it Unity Communities. We get so many emails every week from people who ask if I know of people in their region, or people in their city, or people in their town who are on a similar kind of journey, who have broken away or are breaking away from the religious psychosis, and they're looking for just people who think the same way in their town, in their city. But more importantly, to give us a community where we feel understood, understood, overstood, where we can bond with people of like mind. And if you feel called to be part of this, definitely email me at drmumbi at drmumbishow.com. Please put your country in the subject line with Unity Communities. Get in touch with me, drmumbi at drmumbishow.com. Unity Communities.
Wake up!